Hello, YouTube. It's me, East. I'm back with my orange run commentary over explain hoodie. We're going to be talking about a 62 Fear Mel Blades surface clear. The surface is terrible and I hate it. And we'll be using Galway the Polecat to try and avoid damage. And Gigaro's Dash hopefully will bless us with a start. Spoiler alert, it does. Let's get into the video.
This is fate for the family.
So, on the surface, I find that blades tend to do better than most weapons. Unfortunately, we don't hit trick knives here, which is what we were looking for. Melting sickle will have to do. The blades are kind of very quick, rapid strike weapons, and as a result, they're very mobile and they can move around a lot. This, I think, really benefits them for the surface. We see our rare no onion pre-Aphira. These pre-Aphira rooms, you kind of really want to see either a onion and a boon or an onion and a hammer. You don't really want to see Celine in your first two, but oh well. At least we hit the best one you can get, but I immediately check and see that we don't get any of the stuff. Rigor is pretty good that we can get from Night Bloom there, but we are missing Servitude, which is peak. And now we get to do one of my favorite parts of every video for the surface, which is talk about our Aphira strategy. So, with Gigaro's Dash start, we already have pretty good damage, enough that we could take like a slow or a bad room and do pretty well. So, just to break this down real quick, the good Aphira rooms, these are the rooms that are fast and have relatively easier combats, are this Hef down here, this Zeus, this Hef up here, this Demeter, and this Hermes down here behind the chat box. So 5 pretty good rooms. That's nice. The bad rooms are this Apollo, this Hef, this Mana, and this Health. Those are the difficult rooms in the group. However, I still have to claim my onion. So I really want to make sure that I think Hef is going to be one of the rooms that I go to sort of get onion active. On surface, I really value Demeter pretty highly for control, like freeze from Arctic Ring is fantastic. Zeus is sort of the main kingpin of damage for all 62 Fear builds. I would love to get Blitz from him. I personally really like Hephaestus Blasts on like the attack, or whichever one doesn't have Blitz on it, on the blades, because like I mentioned before, the blades are very mobile, they're very quick strike, so having something that scales like really tall damage, when I mean tall, I mean like single target boss damage, being able to do that with Zeus and Hef is really nice, and I will just need some sort of area of effect damage solve, and I can get that from Zeus's Static Shock, Demeter's Gales, or Arctic Ring, and you'll probably see me try and angle to get Apollo in the pool here as well, just because the Rude Awakening duo boon with Hef is so powerful. So, I'm taking my time in the video, obviously, to consider my options here, think about what I'm supposed to be doing. I need to pick which one of these rooms I want to go to and trigger the onion first. And it will be a difficult Hef room, which means I'm going to try and get the easier Hef rooms pretty early on. Also, early on in runs, I mentioned that I do need some AoE damage. Gigaro's Dash will cover that pretty much only for Aphira. After Aphira and onwards, like Thessaly and Olympus, Gigaro's Dash won't be enough AoE. I'll need some other option to sort of help me deal with that. Basically trying to get through the rooms as smoothly as possible without triggering Gale, so I can save Gale to do well against Polyphemus here. Not a great room to see here. Invulnerable enemies are one of the toughest that you can go up against. Luckily, our execution level is pretty high on the blade so far, so Mel Blades, they get a bonus damage to backstab. And you'll see me use that again, primarily mostly in Aphira, and then sort of let my Olympian damage take over. I don't often like percentage-based boons on the blades as a result. There we go. Once again, I take a common Zeus Flourish. Happy to get Blitz on stuff. Early on in the run, it is very, very powerful for single target damage and bossing. And it's just a great source of damage. Zeus damage from Blitz kind of scales up as you get better at dealing damage, so it's a great boon sort of at all moments of the run. And I'm happy to see it, of course. Get there, we don't get there in time. Keeping track of when the enemies respawn can be difficult. So that's a really interesting pivot point in the run here. I really, really want either Hephaestus' Strike or the Trusty Shield boon. I didn't get either of those. That was a pretty poor offering from Hef overall. Like, Tough Gain is pretty bad on Mel Blades because we're trying to keep Huntress active and we're not going to be spending very much mana. And, like, Tough Gain's damage reduction, I think you can feel it more impressively in Underworld runs. But on Surface, especially later on in the Surface, everything deals like 1 billion damage to you. And so being able to reduce it to like 1 billion minus 1 or 1 billion minus 2, not great. The max HP increase from Uncanny Fortitude isn't too bad, though. There will be times where we might have to take a mana pot or something like that, and being able to get health back from that is nice. We unfortunately didn't get offered Medea, who can give us Traces of Spirit, which would basically give us like 3 max HP every encounter, which would be pretty good. But that's just the way it goes. So I'm heading down to this Hef to hopefully get my Volcanic Strike. Or I'll settle for Trusty Shield, I guess. Really like this room. You know, small rooms are good. A lot of armored enemies, which is very scary, because we can't use Gigaro's Dash to kind of protect us as we move around. But we clear it without too much trouble. Volcanic Strike is really nice here. Obviously, we would prefer to see Volcanic Strike be purple. Divinity proccing on this would make Volcanic Strike be 4 seconds between blasts. But it's okay. There are ways that we can kind of work it down towards 2 seconds, which is what we're ideally looking for here.
Greater might.
With that in tow, our next big play is to pick up Origination. I'm debating whether or not to go to Apollo. Yes, I do decide to go to Apollo instead. This is, like, kind of poorly planned out. Ideally, this is a very poor encounter. Like, this room is very big and is likely to be a hard combat with multiple waves. If I was intending to go to this room, I probably should have gone immediately after getting the Zeus special, or what I was likely intending to do was to just get offered Volcanic Strike from the first half and not have to go to the second one. So I could go to this room and it would be lower. Every time you go to a new room in Ephyra, the encounter difficulty increments slightly, all the way up to basically 6, after which the you destroy the 6th pylon and you get free passage into where you're headed next. So for rooms that are more difficult ones like this one, you have to balance your build's ability to deal damage and clear the room with the incrementing difficulty of the run. Aki says, at this point in the run, are you considering avoiding commons for Vile or already not thinking about Vile? It's actually a secret third option. I'm already pretty much committed to clicking on Vile no matter what happens here. The way I see it, I'm going to pick up 2, maybe 3 more boons. I already have purple on Uncanny Fortitude, so that can't be hit. I am pretty happy for either of these boons on my screen to turn red, right? Like if I hit Aromatic Vial and it turns, I'll keep this going while I do this. If I hit Aromatic Vial and it turns my Zeus Flourish to Heroic, great, fantastic. If it turns my Hef Strike Blast to Heroic, awesome, fantastic. There's really no losing there, and I'll be happy to take the risk either way. Assuming I am probably taking some form of either Blinding Rush or Solar Ring from this room, I'd be happy for either of those to be heroic as well. And we'll sort of see what I get offered here. I'm fairly certain that I do take Aromatic Vial, although I'm not 100%. Yeah, Blinding Rush. I would also be not, like, ecstatic if Blinding Rush got hit by Aromatic Vial, but I'm not going to not take the boon, especially because I was only offered commons there. And this last Demeter room is pretty straightforward. We're just going to try and pick up Arctic Ring and then be on our merry way with a pretty good build so far. But we do have Origination active already with the combination of Zeus's Flourish and a Blinding Rush. So we get through everything pretty straightforwardly here. There's a lot of things I would take from Demeter here. And we don't get offered any of them. I want to go back briefly. Okay, let's break this down. There are a number of boons here that are incredible to get from Demeter. Arctic Ring is fantastic. It locks enemies in place. It provides origination coverage. It drains wards, deals a ton of damage. Awesome. Arctic Gale, same sort of idea. Strips wards, slows enemies down, helps crowd control within the cast. Would have been awesome to get. I have Zeus in the pool as well, so and Apollo, so I have a decent chance to get towards air quality and power it up that way. Snow Queen completely prevents damage for one charge. Very, very useful on surface. Really helps us keep Gale around for longer. Would have been a fantastic offering there as well. Yeah, I got offered common Steady Growth. Plentiful Forage does literally nothing. Tranquil Gain is... The only value to taking Tranquil Gain is that it means I won't be offered any more gains, which is what I want. I don't really want gain from anything else. I take Steady Growth because these two are pretty much useless, and if this gets hit by Aromatic Vial, I'm not that sad. Every 3 encounters, I get a rarity upgrade.
Cold comfort.
So a pretty so-so start. Obviously, I hit 3 cores that I really like, so I can't be too upset.
Hear me on my authority.
It cannot be stressed that, again, I really wanted Static Shock there. Double Strike will have to do. We've already kind of jeopardized our Aromatic Vial pretty substantially here, but we're just going to have to deal with that. I wonder if that means I don't take Aromatic Vial here, because the odds are not fantastic. Polyphemus, I think, is relatively easy to deal with. If you have a mobile build like this one, there's no real need. I'm not under a super amount of time pressure to like rush him down and deal a bunch of damage. I can focus on avoiding him and Medea from farther away, and get in there when my 8 seconds are up. Make sure he's originationed and then hit him, yeah. I'm not super worried about hitting him in the back. Obviously, Melblades deals more damage from the back, but most of my damage is Olympian damage, which is not influenced too highly by whether or not I'm behind him or in front of him. And a pretty clean, pretty straightforward fight there. The patterns on the ground of the poison are always the same, so once you've got those memorized, it's pretty easy to avoid. Let's see. Do I go Aromatic Vial? Thinking about it. I wonder if I do or not. I do. And we hit Blinding Rush. All right, well, not the worst thing. We could have hit Double Strike. We could have hit Steady Growth. I wonder if Steady Growth would have been good. It's not the best. It's not the worst. We're very, very fast now. Is nice, at least. I'm thinking about whether or not to buy the Soul Tonic. I do buy the Soul Tonic. I have Uncanny Fortitude, so the Soul Tonic is like buying a little bit of max HP. In retrospect, maybe a bit wasteful, especially because I really want Palms. So I think if I could go back and do that again, I probably wouldn't buy the Soul Tonic, but whatever. Alright, Thessaly. Thessaly was designed by a madman with the sole purpose of ruining my life. However, with the blades, I find it's not too bad because you're very mobile, you're very quick, and you can move around and also throw out these specials to like hit stun enemies before they approach you. It's also nice to turn on Huntress. So you'll see me moving away from enemies a lot, trying to find like safe space, looking where projectiles are, and then leading with my special a lot to secure the hit stun on enemies, and also get the Blitz going. Nice, we get a little more max magic. It's increasing our health. Again, same idea. I've got a nice 1-2 punch here with Zeus's lightning bolts combined with the half blasts.
Stand down.
I will almost always take. So this is encounter 2. Sorry, this is reward 2 in Thessaly. As a general heuristic, if I see a god boon being offered to me before reward, I want to say 5, I usually take the god boon just to get the onion out of the way. It's very difficult to guarantee god boons in Thessaly, so the soonest you can get the onion out of the way, I think the better it is. We have nice single target burst. Our tall damage is doing very well. Zeus lightning bolts plus the Hephaestus blasts are doing great. Getting through armored enemies from other biomes pretty quickly, and we do get offered the pleasure of fighting Charybdis right away. Normally in Charybdis, my strategy is pretty straightforward. I just go ahead and try to deal with the anchors first. We do get clipped, unfortunately, there. We make really nice use of Melting Sickle to shred the armor on the anchors to get through that much faster. And then I'm pretty much just focusing on one guy at a time, getting ready for the timing of when they shoot their beams at me. I'm so fast. So there's a strategy I think I've seen online to not take any damage from Charybdis during this phase. Every time I've tried it, I've taken 100 damage. So I just do it naturally now, keeping an eye on the balls. I don't know. Between the Sirens fight and this fight, I've fought Charybdis so many times that I kind of feel like it's second nature. Keep an eye on the projectiles. Don't be afraid to take your time. Keep your distance. Especially in my case, I'm happy to keep my distance because a lot of my damage is tied to the timing of my half blast coming off cooldown anyways. Double Strike has been rarefied. Fantastic. I do take Rude Awakening though. It's just such a strong duo boon. It amps the damage of the Volcanic Strike so much, and I do have lots of belief that we can still get Volcanic Strike up there. Icarus can increase our levels by a lot, so always happy to see those.
Special delivery.
See Path of Stars on Nightbloom. We'll likely just work our way towards Rigor and not care too much about anything else after we turn on Growth. So we turn on Growth just so that the Nightbloom can be active even when we're not using mana. This encounter, I don't think there's too many of this encounter in Thessaly, but the skull swarm, I call it, it's just so many of these blue skulls, and also they get upgraded by Menace into these turrets that shoot little laser bolts that deal 30 damage. That is a very difficult encounter, but we ended up using the... One thing that I find is really nice in Thessaly is you can see there's actually quite a few, there's quite a lot of cover in this. Like, you know, if an enemy's standing over here, I can use my special from here and hit them. So in these, like, crazier encounters where there's, like, enemies everywhere, I can use my cast to keep them in place and then use cover to help myself against the projectiles. When I'm really on my game on the surface, that's sort of how I play Thessaly. Is I'm very aware of how to use the cover and sort of zone enemies out. Otherwise, the projectiles are just too strong. So you see that guy charging up the laser. I'm happy to stand in the background. I don't play this armored big turret very well, though. Unfortunate. We hit Cersei. Cersei is one of the best encounters in the entire, or rooms in the entire game. She's obviously timer free, which in Thessaly is a big deal because the alternative is usually like a multiple encounter boat, or a fountain room that doesn't slow the timer down, or sometimes it's mid shop, but you can get multiple of those at once, or a family dispute, which is a very difficult encounter and can usually be quite lengthy. So for the timer, and I can see I'm already under 2 minutes here, hitting Cersei is great. Cersei also has Black Knight Banishment, which will remove one of your vows, which we'll be taking here. She removes the Vow of Denial, which I guess comes up. Let's all watch together, chat, and see how much it matters. But obviously, if Cersei hits like Vow of Hordes or Vow of Grit, the run becomes substantially easier to win. 30% less health on everything is obviously incredible. And what is Hordes? Is it like 20 to 40% less encounters or something? I don't know. Removing one of those two is normally going to be the way to go. We don't hit the best, but we're happy to hit Cersei, and we honestly probably needed the time save, so we're okay with that anyways. We're happy to see these sorts of encounters. Hordes is 60% more enemies. I hate this game. We're really, really happy to see these sorts of encounters in Thessaly. We want armored enemies have an additional encounter weight. So if, let's say, for example, an average encounter would be 5 enemies. If the enemies are armored, they're more likely to be like 3 than they are 5. And we actually don't care that much about the enemies being armored because we have Melting Sickle and we kill them very quickly. So we're always happy to see smaller amounts of high armored enemies for the rest of the run. Because we're going to strip their armor away with Melting Sickle and then immediately kill them with Blitz, a Blast and Blitz. So... see, there they are. We strip the armor. Blast, Blitz, dead. This one's back. Melting strips. Blast, Blitz. Well, the blast is late, but we did it with Blitz. You get the idea. These enemies are very difficult. The triple firing caskets are an absolute nightmare. I know watching it, these don't seem that difficult, but I want to pause for a sec here. On this last one here. So this maybe doesn't look that bad, but the trajectory that this blast and this blast go on are, I swear, intentionally designed to hit a perpendicular dash. So if I dash this way, I get hit by this. If I dash this way, I get hit by this. You have to take a second, play a little bit slower, and work around it. So you see I dash away at an angle instead because I've played so much 62 Fierce Surface and I've lost. These things do 16 damage a hit. And normally, especially with armored enemies like this, you get hit by them, by 3 of them, and all of a sudden, oh, you've lost 50 health. It pays to be a little bit careful on the surface.
She wants a sacrifice.
At long last, we hit Arctic Ring. Happy to see that. And our timer is looking a little bit suspect at end shop here. We do hit freeze and cold storage, though, which is awesome. Minor misplay there. If I was trying to optimize my chances of getting an upgrade onto the Volcanic Strike, I should have taken the mini palm before the Demeter boon. I often make that mistake. If you're planning to take a palm or some sort of upgrade, reduce the options in your pool before you take the upgrade. Very simple. A minute 8 is not a lot of time to kill Eris. Eris is a fight that is mostly difficult because you're trying to work out how to win in the timer. Like, you have to kill her as fast as possible without taking damage. She deals a lot of damage if she hits you, but generally speaking, as long as you try to stay behind her, and on a fast mobile weapon like the blades, you're, especially one that has like a long ranged option like the special, to blow up the Lucifer orbs before they hit you, it's generally, you're not under a ton of threats during this fight. As long as you kind of pay attention to what Eris is doing and her different movement options. As you can see, I'm not like under too much threat of being hit, but I am under time pressure. It's always a bummer to see jellyfish when you have Night Bloom. Night Bloom jellyfish generally don't tend to do very well in this fight because they're very slow moving enemies, and Eris flies around at quick speed. I think the best first enemy spawn to see here is the anchors. And Night Bloomed Anchor goes absolutely insano mode in this fight. Eris is a very interesting fight along this wall. This area right here is like a super interesting part of the fight. So if Eris ends up in the fire at any point, she'll jump away and like respawn on the ground. So this is like the only large strip against a wall where she won't fly away. And her pathing for her strafe and like her like movement and stuff like that in general gets really messed up when she's against this wall. So she does a bombing run and she ends up against the wall again. I'm gonna try and stay and hug the wall while I fight her here. I move away and I end up kind of losing it. But once she stays near this wall, I want to try and keep her near the wall because it changes her movement options substantially. Not too much happens though there. Thankfully I get through those guys and get to Night Bloom myself a Lurker. Lurker is nice in terms of damage. Take a little bit from the fire. Oops. Get hit, lose a DD. Again, I can see the timer is like my big problem here, right? Time's up. Try not to get hit by something. Good.
Same time again tomorrow, babe.
Not the best Eris I've ever done in the world, but
She never learns. Into the
not the worst Eris I've ever done in the world either.
this way.
Okay. I'm low on time. I have freeze. I have a lot of gods in the pool that can give me damage shields and armor. I have days for evasion. I have high power Olympian damage from Blitz and blasts. I've never done this before, and this is a strategy that goes back all the way to like the War Song patch. I know players in China like Dayu have started using it. I was kind of clued into it by Aki. This is the very first time I've ever tried Antler Olympus. So the big challenge that we have with Olympus is that the room RNG is very inconsistent. It can be a very time-consuming biome, and this is essentially the fastest way. This is the easiest way to ensure that you can quickly move through Olympus and deal with the enemies there. It is obviously an incredibly risky strategy. As you can see, I've reduced my effective HP dramatically. My philosophy on this is enemies often deal half my health anyways. I have 3 hits to stay alive here. But I have a pretty solid defensive god pool. So I'm just hoping I get some armor at some point, and we're feeling okay after that. If I can get my blast cooldown lowered a little bit, the palm is a good start. I just need to get my blast cooldown lowered a little bit. I have Gale to help me out. That would have been a really embarrassing way to lose a DD right away. Melting Sickle is good though. Armored enemies are normally a problem, but because I have like freeze and cold storage, it's very, very easy for me to kill all the enemies inside the duration of freeze. Like I have 6 seconds of freeze, and that's plenty of time with Antler to deal with them. The first palm goes on to Volcanic Strike. We need 5 more level upgrades. There's Chaos. If I don't die here, if I don't lose a Death Defiance, I will have enough health to go to Chaos here. And yeah, I think this is a good setup for White Antler. I have so much cold storage freeze that we're pretty happy with that. I'll take Chaos for the room skip. Again, I'm super worried about time right now. Showing 4 minutes this early in Olympus is tough. Chaos is a room skip, which I am super happy to take. This is, I believe, Fixated Chasm. That was kind of a nothing Chaos room. None of those options were great. Good stuff. Melting Sickle gets me through armor really quickly. The freeze is nice. I have to be very careful about the ranged attacks from the enemies here. Oh, that was close, but we ended up okay. Big hit there. We get to 6 seconds on Volcanic Strike. I'm debating whether or not to buy it now. I do buy it now. That's a smart decision. Now I have armor, which gives me a bit more leeway. Hopefully Hephaestus can give me some armor here as well. Obviously, very clean execution on killing that stuff. Killing both of the armored things that Talos summons. I wonder if Talos is actually faster here than the Mega Draken would have been, because I have like White Antler Melting Sickle. I wonder if I could have like super easily phased the boss there. Cutting it very close with the spinny wheels there from Talos, but pretty clean fight. Don't take any damage. We don't actually hit any armor, which I'm a little choked about, but we do get to introduce enemies to our Cryo Pounder. I think Cryo Pounder is, I mean, first of all, it's very funny. Second of all, I think it is more damage than Grand Caldera. I might be wrong, though. I wonder if a purple Grand Caldera would have been better to take than Cryo Pounder there. But with both of our Hef Blasts in tow, we're back on the road here. As you can see, my Hef Blast just did 4,875 damage. And the uptime is, yeah, 4,830 damage. Not bad at all, I will say. Watch out for those. And with The effective freeze. Very cool. Enemies have a hard time dealing damage to us. Volcanic Strike gets rarefied. So now we're down to 4 seconds. Steady growth coming in clutch there. Unfortunately, the palm misses. But, oh well. We'll just take an upgrade on our Blitz. We get another... Oh, we're going for Apollo instead of a palm. Very interesting choice there, East. I wonder if I'm looking for... What am I even looking for here? Like, Backburner, maybe? I don't think Backburner works with Hephaestus Blasts anymore. But I think I'm just kind of trying to go as fast as possible, playing off Instinct here. Oh, nice dodge there. Would have triggered Gale. But things are starting to come together. Light Smite. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, Supernova's good too. Actually, that's a really good call. Light Smite only deals damage if I take damage, and if I take damage, I'm dead. Supernova, on the other hand, makes it so that my Arctic Ring just kind of like spreads out the zone of safety more consistently. I like that. I like that decision from me. Heracles, super clutch here. Obviously, we didn't get any great skips in Ephira, and those have come up big time. Especially because we immediately lose all of our armor to those armored... I don't know what they're called. I call them polyps. The thing about those guys is that if they are frozen, their hitbox is still active. Yeah, cleanup. Very solid cleanup of the huge armored enemy there. I see the armored enemy flying around, so I'm just generally trying to play like super safe. Oh my god, that thing is spinning. But we get the cast up, and we do get the freeze going. And we survive. So, thing I did not know until this run, if you increase your max HP, White Antler does not raise the floor of your health to match. I thought my health would go up to 27 when this happened.
Good.
It did not.
Try not to die.
Come on, armor. Nope. I do buy it right away. Wow, what do you know? So I guess we do see that Vow of Denial is a thing here. I didn't lose Light Smite. Vow of Denial being removed. I don't think, yeah, I don't agree with this decision that I made. I don't think it was worth it to go for a hammer here. Even Trick Knives is not going to help that much. Reaper Knives is fine. Just means that the Blitz special is going to hit more enemies in an area. And deal more damage that way. Okay, we have, I believe, we have 1 charge of Gale left. 3 damage shields. And White Antler. Let's go. Heracles and Prometheus. My strategy is essentially to focus on avoiding taking hits from either of them, keeping my eye on both of them, while at the same time keeping my distance and relying on going in, getting a Blitz and a Blast off, and then running away. There's a brief moment where Heracles is vulnerable. When he does that, I'm counting out loud to myself to try and memorize the patterns of the child's memory game. Keeping that sort of triangle of distance between the 3 of us. I do get hit there. There's another one. I believe that's it for, yes. That is it for my damage shields. No armor. Taking my time here. Oh. Thank you, Gale. I actually get hit by the fire. The reason I'm running away from Heracles kind of there is I know that he's very quickly about to die. And then with Prom, it's the same thing. He goes down into a couple Blitz and Blast combos, so... We actually get the rare Prometheus is dead, but his minions aren't. And that's damageless Prometheus with White Antler. Always very satisfying to get that one. And now we get a whole bunch of health back. We can grab... hopefully some sort of way to get our Volcanic Strike down to 2 seconds. And Engraved Pin.
That's good.
To handle the surface. Hey, we get a Death Defiance refill. Perfect. Not too much to say about Summit here. I'm primarily interested in not hitting, in taking the triple palms room and hoping that I get Volcanic Strike. I believe I also have one more hit of, you can see, yeah, in the bottom there, I have one more hit of Steady Growth as well. So that could also rarefy it to purple, and I would get 2 seconds that way. The first room of Summit is, I think, the hardest one before Typhon. I really honestly do think that. If you get through Prometheus and Heracles, your build is so good at dealing damage that you would prefer armored enemies to unarmored enemies in Summit pretty much any day of the week. Especially when it's like the Land Drakens and the Polyps like this, there are so many enemies on screen. It's a huge time sink. But luckily, with Gagaro's Dash, which I've kind of forgotten that I have at this point, we do okay.
What?
Yeah, unfortunately we get big mob rooms here, which is not what you want to see, but thankfully, we do have cold storage still working in our favor here to keep enemies locked down for a long period of time. No triple palm room, so let's just grab anything.
Next floor. You two.
Twins. I like twins. Obviously, with Melting Sickle, I could have handled Spawn of Typhon pretty easily, but twinsies are fine. Yeah, took a hit there, but generally you just kind of dash through them when they put their hands up like they're gonna hit you. As long as you pretty much keep pouring the damage on and dash when they put their hands up, I kind of find that they're pretty free. And not too much to say there. Sucks that I got hit once by Gale, basically. Sorry, I lost my Gale. I didn't hit once. Double Strike has been rarefied once more. The humble Double Strike has gone up. Always good to see double armored enemies, and we do have the single target damage to cryo pound our way through that armored enemy there. We've been hit with another Horde room, but luckily it's a small enough room that all the enemies can kind of group themselves together a little bit, and we get through that pretty easily with Arctic Ring. There is triple bomb. Tail. Okay, so Tail is a really easy fight, I think, for the Blades. Basically, especially with Blinding Rush, like, we just stay on the move. We can keep our eyes, peripheral vision, sort of looking for the little lasers that enemies do. That was pretty tough because the enemies spawn right on top of us. Because we have Melting Sickle, though, we can get through these things pretty quickly. And then because we have this ranged attack that's stacking up this damage, we go in for a Heft Blast occasionally. Because we have so much speed and also like controlling the area around us, you can see these armored Drakens keep popping up to hit us, but they get immediately taken care of by the Arctic Ring. That's really nice. Unfortunately, I do take the one hit at the end of what was otherwise a super clean tail fight. Ta-da! We made it at the final hour. 2-second heft strike.
Almost to the top.
Unfortunately, we hit the double Death Defiance here, but can't overbuy. You can see. I have enough to get 2 boons, so I'll grab 2 boons. I'm not worried about priming out. Sorry, about being only offered a bad exchange because of Valve Denial being active. And we hit heavy metal in the last room, which is really nice.
Yes.
It's a nice 100 armor. We also get, like, we deal more damage based on the armor, but not really. Heavy metal, like, mechanically works very strangely. It doesn't care about any of your percentage boons. It does care about crit and Ares double damage, but that's all it cares about. So getting 20 more damage on every attack or special here is normally quite good for the blades, but it won't matter too much here. All right. Typhon. Big thing you'll see me do in like all these videos against Typhon from now on is it turns out the bottom right of the screen is this triple tongue slam can't hit you. And then you see I dash back at the last time through the combination of the Chronos wave and the third tongue blast. You have to be careful if you're playing like Demeter Gales or anything that slows down enemy projectile speeds, is that the Chronos blast and the Typhon wave will be staggered. Make sure you don't dash from one right into the other. Saving your damage shields, I don't know, obviously this is pretty common sense, but like especially in this fight, saving your damage shields for as long as possible in the early phases is like really, really important. Typhon is slow, lumbering, and somewhat predictable. He'll go for Chin Slam here. Now he'll do, yeah, this thing again, and from here he'll go for another Chin Slam. Or no, I backed off too much for him to go for one. But you can see my damage is quite strong, so I managed to phase him pretty quickly. No reason for us to let the Brood alive. We do have Night Bloom, but it's not really that necessary. We won't be using it here. We start out really close. Typhon, so he Chin Slams. He does something else again. Now he'll Chin Slam again because I'm close. Move in. Now he's going to do something else. Tornadoes, sure. Now I'm far away. He'll go for something and not Chin Slam. Now I'm up close, so he'll Chin Slam. He goes for the ball instead that time. But that's sort of like the conditioning prediction there. Okay, other runners play this much safer. I haven't been hit yet. I have no problem, no qualms with going in for big damage here and just phasing him to eggs right afterwards. But you can see I'm dashing and strafing sort of along this area here, basically just trying to stay like a quarter of a second ahead of his gusts coming out. So do some damage, start moving, do some damage, start moving. I'm getting little backstabs in there, which is kind of cool. But yeah, with all the blasts and everything like that, we managed to phase him into eggs pretty quickly. Minor point about the eggs. The faster you kill them and the faster you phase them, it also makes the tail or the hand go away faster. So, unless you're planning specifically to Night Bloom the spawns, yeah, it's just really good. Okay, I have 3 Death Defiances and engraved pins, so I'm probably going to play this phase pretty recklessly. Luckily, Typhon gives me a pretty good pattern. No tongue slams here. Goes for Chin Slam a lot. Goes for this like move where he summons stuff, which takes a lot of time. And we get him before the armor runs out. Pretty clean Typhon fight for the most part. We just have Babality to get through here, which shouldn't be too hard. Babality, basically, it's called Babality because it says that in the game's code. I always forget that this might be someone's first video that they're watching, and they'll be like, why is this lunatic calling this phase Babality? It says that in the game's code. Strategy here is pretty straightforward. It's just make sure that Typhon doesn't hit you. The better and better you get at this, the better and better you can get at standing in between Chronos's balls as well and keeping track of them. But I'm just entirely happy to avoid damage from Typhon here. He hits me. I'm not super worried about it. By the time this engraved pin runs out, the circle will be pretty much done. I dodged some stuff just for practice. There you go. Watch out for the ball that comes out here. It does 80 damage. Dodged. I have lost 62s to that before. Solid stuff. Heft Blast and Blitz dealing a lot of damage that run. But it was pretty cool. Like, it was pretty cool to try Antler Olympus for the first time and have some success with it. It was pretty cool to, like, slowly increment Heft Blasts over time. You can see, actually, that the special ends up doing a lot of damage, too, with Reaper Knives. And the bonus backstab damage. So, that's got really cool. 3 different sources of damage over 150,000. Very cool stuff. And that's the Melblades clear. No trick knives, which most people kind of think is like the bread and butter hammer to get. And despite that, we end up with a pretty comfortable win with 16 seconds left, despite a going over time in Thessaly. So, really cool run. But that's going to be it for this commentary video. If you like the video, please make sure you subscribe, like, tell all your friends. Also, if you want to check out runs like this, you can check me out at twitch.tv/east_25. That's all in the description down below. Until then, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time.